local news first. Welcome to the 2018 Veterans Day Parade, sponsored by Clark Construction Custom Homes, with Carolyn McEnroe, Cody Adams, and Airman First Class Soraya Hines.
Good morning and welcome to the annual KLST Veterans Day Parade in downtown San Angelo. I'm Carolyn McEnroe along with Cody Adams.
And we're here joined with First Class Airman Soraya Hines from Goodfellow Air Force Base. She's going to be with us throughout the entire parade, helping us out with some of the things that maybe you're a little knowledgeable about being from Goodfellow.
Yes. Let's talk about what we have right down here in front of us. Our location today is where it always is for our San Angelo parades at the corner of East Concho and South Oak Street, and we have a demonstration going on right now.
Yes, right now we have individuals from both the 316th and the 315th squadrons, and they are doing an exhibition drill. So this portion of the drill is focused on their rifle movements. So it's kind of a time where they get to show off their precision and what they can do with their rifles.
How much training goes into this? Because, I mean, it's such a meticulous thing that they're doing.
It is. So it really depends on the drill team because they're also still in training for their respective jobs. So this is additional to whatever they're training on Goodfellow for. So you go to Goodfellow to learn about your job, and then they have proven that they know how to step up and be super precise and earn their black ropes. That's what the aguilet on their arms mean, is that they are in the drill team. Actually, these are all leaders of drill teams, and you have to earn that right by practicing extra.
Are these younger students here, or are they more senior personnel? So it's
a little harder to tell when they're not on base, because usually you can distinguish that through a badge that just lets you know what phase they're in. So without being able to have their badges, I'm not sure these could be anybody who's come from basic, but they're probably either mid or just about to graduate from their respective courses.
They look like they know what they're doing.
Yeah, how do they end up doing this? I mean, how do they become a part of this? We were talking about that a little bit earlier.
They probably volunteered, and then they also have to work together to come up with this routine. That they were two separate teams, and then they come together and they're practicing, and they have been fine-tuning their routine all morning as well, so I was watching them do that.
Does it have a significance? Does it change? I know they also do this not just for parades, but they also go to special events.
Yes, so they can change the routines, and I believe it's mainly up to the leaders of the squadrons, but this is exhibition, so it's a little different than their regulation drill, which would have a required set of movements. Exhibition is a little bit more time where they can just show off their skills.
All right, we're taking a look right down Concho now as the San Angelo Veterans Day Parade just about gets to the big turn where we get to watch and show you all morning long what we have going on. It's always led by the San Angelo Police Department motorcycle riders, as we see the black ropes going off stage now. And then, of course, we have the Armed Forces Color Guard leading today's parade.
And a very nice crowd out here today, enjoying it despite the chilly weather.
What is it? Is it in the 40s still? It is chilly.
Yeah, 48 I think is what we had starting things off today.
We were talking about how many people there are lining the street downtown, and they were here earlier today with all their coats and their blankets and their children and their warm things to drink.
Early on, a large group of people taking part in a prayer chain as well, just praying for the military and just the nation in general, one of those things they like to do around here.
Let's talk about what we have at the front of the parade. Of course, we have a lot of VIPs. It's wonderful also to say that we have two World War II veterans in today's parade, John Boykin and Charles Stokes, who we'll see in just a minute. They're riding in a number of different vehicles, as you can see, kind of look down the street there. We also have Korean War veterans, Vietnam War veterans, Gulf War Operation Desert Shield veterans, Iraq and Afghanistan. So it spans decades through the American history of military war and foreign soil.
Yes. It goes back in our heritage. I always love seeing pieces of the Air Force or any of the military services heritage and being
Colonel Ricky Mills, who is a San Angelo native and an A&M graduate, a Grand Marshal of our parade, along with his wife, who grew up in Hawaii.
And, of course, Mayor Brenda Gunter, hanging out the top of her truck there, waving to everyone. She's been mayor for a year now.
Since 2017, year and a half about. We were talking about some of our veterans. That's a 1948 Dodge, World War II veteran, as we were saying earlier. John Boykin, Army Air Corps. He was a member of the Army Air Corps stationed in Heliopolis, Egypt from 1942 to 1945, where he was a heavy equipment operator for the Army Air Corps ground crew. Driver is Raymond Flores in that 1948 Dodge Club Coupe. Another World War II veteran, this is Charles Stokes, who is, if you know the Stokes family, you know about sheep ranching in San Angelo. He's originally from Lampasas. He turned 92 just last month. Happy birthday. He served in World War II in 1944 under Major Frank Haynes, served in the capacity of basic engineering. Now lives in San Angelo, again, where he has a working sheep ranch, still active in the wool production industry. Jerry Jacoba is driving Charles Stokes today. It's always amazing to sit down and talk with those World War II veterans and just hear the stories from their past. It's absolutely amazing. As we just saw the Korean War veteran there coming through in his vehicle. That's going to be Ray Farr, Army U.S. Air Force. Farr served in the U.S. Army in Korea in the 2nd Infantry Battalion. He then went on to serve in the U.S. Air Force for additional 23 years. Our other Korean War veteran in the parade today, U.S. Air Force military veteran Philip Templeton. And we move along now to Vietnam War veterans in our parade today. And we're going to have Harvey Carrasco. He served for 35 years, retired as E8 Master Sergeant. Also being represented as displayed on the outside of the car is Sergeant Lorenzo Chapa Jr. Sergeant Chapa served in a company's 2nd Battalion and 502 ND Infantry of the 101st Airborne Division, commonly known as the Screaming Eagles. You can see it right there. Jim Gray, another Vietnam Army veteran who served with the 1st Signal Battalion. As we move on now to Yolanda Pickens, Gulf War Desert Shield, Desert Storm, U.S. Navy. And as I said, we have Iraqi and Afghanistan War veterans too, moving now more to the modern era. Michael Castor and his daughter Kyla Castor. Mr. Castor served as a sergeant with the 92nd Engineer Battalion. He was a mechanic and a 50 cal gunner. As we take a look there at the Firebird. And now we've got the Goodfellow Air Force Base. The first of a number of squadrons in today's parade.
Yes, so leading right behind the banner is the Vice Commander Colonel Robert Ramirez, and also our Chief Master Sergeant Lavore Kirkpatrick, and he's in charge of all enlisted matters. And so right coming through here now is the Army Tenant Unit that is on base, and they always sing loud and proud.
One of the things that I think is so interesting that we always talk about, obviously it's Goodfellow Air Force Base, but there are so many different branches of the military station out there as we have the Marine Corps coming through. They're all here. We're consolidated intel training for the entire U.S. military.
Yes, absolutely. And so coming after the Marines, we have the Navy Detachment, which is also where we have the Coast Guard falls under the Navy Detachment on base as well.
And then the firefighters are here too. You know, they come from all over the place. It's interesting. San Angelo has such a military history. You know, back in the 1940s, the San Angelo Army Airfield and Goodfellow Air Force Base first started, but then we have Fort Concho, which is right down the street, which is in 1867, right after the Civil War. So we have a long history in San Angelo, and it's so nice to have Goodfellow and has such a showing of you all here for this parade today.
Well, and we appreciate also just all of the support that we've received from San Angelo from the very first establishment of Goodfellow.
Goodfellow operates almost like a small city. You know, it's largest employer, or one of the largest employers in San Angelo. The different squadrons not only are preparing for missions or doing training, but also just have to do with things like housekeeping and sending soldiers back and forth.
Yes, like the mission support group underneath of them, they passed through a couple moments ago. They have everything from making sure that our computers are working to, you know, the Force Support Squadron, which takes care of recreational facilities and just boosting morale and enhancing the type of life on base.
Your job, you say, is as a photojournalist on base.
Yes.
What do you do?
So I get to either go to events on base or off base like this, and if I'm not doing something, you know, like this, then I have a camera with me and I'm taking pictures. I get to interview people and I get to tell their story or get to tell about the event that they might have helped coordinate and be passionate about.
It is always such a pleasure to talk to these young men and women who are from all over the country, who are here, whether it's for 3 months for training. What is the standard amount of time that they're here for training these days?
It really depends on the type of job, because we do both intel training and we also train in firefighters, and they have very different courses. And then we also don't just start with your beginner courses. Individuals will come back to receive advanced training in firefighting and intel as well.
And then there's the retiree population. We have a lot of that too. People come here for training and eventually come back to San Angelo to live.
Yes, I've heard that's very common thing to do. You want to come back here.
Representing the military fire training part. Of course, the Fire Training Academy, as you were saying, trains military personnel who come here from all over the country from 6 weeks to longer for training sessions.
Yes, so it's the 312th Training Squadron, which was led by their commander, Lieutenant Colonel Scott Klein, and then we have the fire truck behind them because they're the fire dogs.
Do you ever get to go over and take pictures of them while they're training?
I do, and I always love to jump on the chance that I get because they have all kinds of trainers over there that they can, simulate different fires or cut into cars, and it's just super fun to watch them do their training.
Something to see.
Yes.
And as we're going to take a look back down Concho now, we've got the Detachment 847 ASU AF-ROTC, the Air Force ROTC detachment, obviously, and tell me a little bit about what the ROTC is for people who maybe don't know.
So for people who maybe don't know, it's a way to commission and become an officer in the Air Force. So it's a program. The ROTC is the Reserve Officer Training Corps. So it's actually how Colonel Mills and Colonel Ramirez received their commission. Is Colonel Ramirez received his from Texas State in San Antonio. And then also my lieutenants all receive theirs. So you go through the program and you have to do your school, but then you're also engaging in training in the various military aspects that you need to learn.
And they just had their Memorial Oak Grove at Angelo State University. They always have a special ceremony that they just had this last week. That's one of the ceremonies in San Angelo each year for Veterans Day.
And there we take a look at the VFW Post 1815, here to serve our veterans, the military, and our communities. John Muckleroy helped me out a little bit, chatting with him earlier a couple weeks ago when we did a Veterans Voices program here on KLST.
That's how you do it without water. Take a look at that.
That is the Disabled American Veterans, Chapter 237, dedicated to a single purpose, empowering veterans to lead.
Everybody has his warm jacket, his or her warm jacket and coat on.
And gloves and hats and
everything else you can get.
Yes.
You may be able to hear a little music in the background. That's the Lakeview Chieftain Band making its way up Concho. Always good to hear the school bands going, and of course Lakeview Chiefs have had an excellent year under head coach Hector Guevara, and they've got to play a lot of half times at San Angelo Stadium this year.
They've also won some awards recently, both at the Big Country and UIL marching contests.
The band would like to thank all veterans for their service to our country.
We're going to listen for a minute as they come by right here at the corner of Concho and South Oaks.
As we take a look there, it looks like the Jeep Club here of San Angelo rolling up behind Cheerleaders there. That's Elite Prep Dance Team Prep Academy, a recreational dance team formed at the newest dance studio here in San Angelo.
That's actually started by Maya Wagner. She was a Texan at Central High School, and she helps girls get ready for dance team. This is the Jeep Club, and they provide vehicles for a number of people riding in the parade each year.
And if you know anything about Jeep people, they are a very particular group of people. They love their Jeeps, and it's not just on the road. They go off-roading with them and all kinds of stuff.
I think a Jeep is one of my vehicles that I will have to eventually acquire because they look like a ton of fun.
They're great for the country. Have you been outside San Angelo very much? Have you visited much?
Not a super long amount. My husband and I are still trying to sync our schedules so we can both go enjoy a weekend exploring some of the smaller towns like Fredericksburg, and I've heard all about various things. I have made it to Abilene, so
good.
Yeah.
Well, you don't need your 4-wheel drive for that, though.
No.
Pretty straight.
No, we have two little, economical cars. We haven't made it out to go and play in the mud yet.
Oh, I like this one. Look at the green lights on it.
There are 12 to 15 Jeeps in this group today, and you may see them rolling around together on a weekend.
That
Maybe
guy looks like he goes over a lot of rocks, or she. They have their doors off for the parade. That's good.
Well, and of course, as we know, Jeeps a huge part of military equipment as well. For a long time, they were
the
using
Willis Jeeps.
Yeah.
Have them filled with lots of family members too. I saw a car seat in the back of one of them. The Lakeview Junior High School Junior ROTC. We were talking about ROTC at the college level. Mm-hmm. Then the junior ROTC is a branch of that.
Yes, so it's in the high school level, it's just kind of starting to introduce individuals who might be curious about it, and it gives you a little bit of extracurricular activity, and then you also might volunteer in various events in your community. So I've actually been able to take pictures with various junior ROTC groups for like Wreaths Across America because they helped us by handing out the wreaths.
They've been a part of the community for 25 years now, headed by Major Jason Esquel. The unit has earned the Distinguished Unit with Merit 4 times, Distinguished Unit 16 times, and the Outstanding Organization Award.
That's part of the discipline training, too, isn't it?
Yes.
Learning to march and learning to...
Yes, so whereas they don't have to do training as often as the college students, they still have to learn how to properly wear the uniform, how to march, and they have various instructors who help them go through that process.
Lots of dedicated young men and women in that group there. And just behind them, we've got San Angelo Composite and TLCA Cadet Squadron's Civil Air Patrol. You'll see them coming up just a little bit here behind the Lakeview ROTC. The cadets and senior members from San Angelo Composite and Texas Leadership Charter Academy Cadet Squadrons are part of Civil Air Patrol. Civil Air Patrol has 3 main missions: cadet program, aerospace education, and emergency services. Civil Air Patrol also participates in STEM and Cyber Patriot programs, as well as Air Force Total Force, and we know how important STEM is.
And that's another program for students, too.
Yes, absolutely. And STEM is, what is it, science, technology,
engineering, or math?
Yeah,
oh,
yes. Math.
Yummy math.
Right there, we've got the Blue Knights Law Enforcement Motorcycle Club. Kind of a chilly day to get the bikes out, but always fun to have them in the parade.
Those are quiet for, I just guess one Harley, but it's not too loud.
Yeah.
Good to have in a parade. We have a float full of lots of different people waving American flags coming around the corner right behind them.
That is the Christian Veterans Outreach.
Did you see the little doggies?
Yes. They look like they're happy they're being held close.
They have their mascot there with them, as they said.
All 3 of them. How cute.
And coming up here, we have the Order of the Purple Heart. You may be able to see them coming down Concho there. There they are.
Which is a very distinguished and very important award.
Yes.
One of our Vietnam veterans earlier who was in the parade, Philip Dowsett from Vietnam, has 2 Purple Hearts.
Wow. And there's the Lakeview High School Cheer and Blue Crew. Varsity cheerleaders wrapped up the regular season of the football season last night as they get ready to head into the playoffs.
On Thursday night, actually, with a big win.
Yeah.
That Lakeview flag is big.
Yes.
The American flag, the Texas flag, and the Lakeview flag.
I wouldn't want to have to fight that thing in today's wind.
Get a shot of it coming around the corner. There's the American flag. There's the Texas flag. It's right there behind him. Just out of range. There you go.
I would not want to carry it around, that's for sure.
It is windy. It's windy today. Did we get the weather forecast from Dan about what was going to happen later on? No rain.
No rain. but still chilly. And, of course, we know freezing temperatures maybe over the next couple of days as well, but that's not keeping people from coming out and enjoying it, as we've had a few more people kind of fill in the crowd as we've gotten things started here.
Little Fort Concho cheerleaders, 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders, their little spirit squad.
They perform at high school pep rallies, Angelo State University football, and basketball games.
They're learning early, aren't they?
Yes, they are. And they're actually doing a really good job. They're all in time.
Can you hear the cheer?
Yeah.
Let's go, veterans. Great job there by those young ladies.
In their red, white, and blue. It's nice to have them in the parade.
Yes.
As we take a look now, it's the Glory Bound Cloggers from San Angelo. The Glory Bound Cloggers were organized in 2012 at the San Angelo Cowboy Church. They entertain at local care facilities, Christmas at Fort Concho, as well as several other parades. They performed last year in Branson, which is one of the premier places that people go as tourists in the Midwest, and they're a lot of fun. If you ever get a chance to see them, they work very hard at that as well. Right behind them, the Angelo Catholic School.
Several students saluting as they're going around the corner.
Statue of Liberty there.
Lots of nice red, white, and blue again in that float, too. Honoring military past and present.
As we take a look there, the American Heritage Girls is a premier character build program for girls. The creed is to love God, honor our family, and serve our communities. They come carrying their banner down Concho.
Glad to see lots of people with hats and hoods on.
Yes. Well, I left this morning without a jacket and turned right. I don't know why. I turned right around and said, yeah, I'm going to want to probably grab that. Good choice.
Cornerstone Christian School, we had a story about them yesterday. They've been learning about Veterans Day all this week, and they had a special ceremony yesterday. They've been honoring veterans, both relatives and family members, too, and had lots of photos. And take a veteran to school day this week.
And as you talk to a lot of the representatives from the different schools in this area, obviously with it being such a military town, that's something that they focus a lot on is the education of the military and the importance of veterans here as well.
Yes, and I've had the pleasure of going with an individual who's a mentor of mine, a master sergeant, to tour with a school where he got to talk to the children about Career Day. I think it was a bunch of 4th graders, so different classes would come through, and he got to tell them a little about what he does.
Right behind them, the Vietnam veterans and Concho Valley women's veterans.
They're having a neat, interesting event. We should mention at the Elks Club, which is on South Chadbourne, right after the parade. All military families and veterans are invited for a free lunch at the Elks Club. But they're also at 1 o'clock, they're having a special Vietnam pinning ceremony for any wives or mothers or relatives who haven't been through that. Tell us, what is the pinning ceremony?
So, for the Vietnam veterans, because they didn't receive quite the welcome home that they should have at the time, now there's a pinning ceremony where you receive a pin that has to do with that war, and it's pinned on by military members, and then some of the pins represent different things. So some military will get a different pin than the family member that was also involved in being a part of that.
And that ceremony takes place at 1 o'clock this afternoon at the Elks Club on South Chadbourne, and if you're a military family, go have lunch. They always love to have everybody. They'll be there till 3 o'clock. San Angelo Central High School Band, they've had a busy week.
Absolutely. Being led by, of course, Joey Ashbrook. And they performed last night during halftime. Central, unfortunately, losing in that one, but still a great season.
It was a high-scoring game for both teams.
33-50, I think, the final score. And, of course, they'll head off to the playoffs. But we'll take a listen now to the Central Mighty Bobcat Band.
Nice musical tribute to all the armed forces.
Joey, of course, does a great job with that group, and they come away with many awards throughout the year, and I'm sure we'll see more of that throughout the rest of this year as we take a look now back down Concho. The Sue's Shrine, San Angelo, Texas. There are 22 Shriners hospitals for children, 18 orthopedic hospitals, 3 Shriner burn institutes, and 1 hospital that provides orthopedic, burn, and spinal cord injury care. And Shriners ride so kids can walk.
And they have those funny carts that they always ride. They're just a few feet off the ground, not even feet, inches.
I remember they were always one of my favorites when I was a kid seeing parades because they're in all of my parades back home, too.
The Suez Shriners here have... Oh, look, he's spinning out. Uh-oh.
I have a feeling they have a little more fun than maybe they should sometimes.
He's holding onto his flags, too.
And there is the Central High School Junior ROTC. Central High School Junior ROTC is 169 students strong. Cadets participate in numerous community service events and drill competitions throughout the school year. The mission of the JROTC is to develop citizens of character dedicated to serving their nations and community.
As we were saying earlier, they're kind of the precursor to the college ROTC, which is the precursor to the U.S. military.
And 169 students. I mean, what a large group that is.
Yeah.
Hey, well, I recognize those people.
Hey, that's my wife and daughters. Hey, guys. Nicole and Ella and Madeline.
Ella's really good at
Oh, my gosh.
growing.
The 18 months. She loves the camera.
She looks like she's having fun. And they're saluting as they go around the corner. We have a number of veterans. If you look around the crowd, I was noticing a number of people here who have come either with family members or by themselves to take part in this Veterans Day Parade.
And coming up right behind them, the Glen Raider Band. This is the Awesome Raider Band. They consistently achieve high awards such as the UIL Sweepstakes Award.
Lots of Glen Middle School students coming around the corner. It's a good drum line.
You can see the concentration on their
These are
face,
middle
too.
school,
Yeah.
middle school students.
And the Boy Scouts of America represented very well today in the parade. There are 6 floats from San Angelo. Troop 363, Pack 340, Pack 22, Pack 36, and Pack 374 coming through today. Maybe no kayaking and canoeing today, but...
The life preserver is also serving as a warming vest this morning.
Yes.
Here are the little Cub Scouts. There are a lot of sponsors with the Boy Scouts and the Cub Scouts, too.
One broke away there to say thank you. Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts, Eagle Scouts, they're a dedicated group of kids, that's for sure.
Of all ages, with lots of parents, too. Take a look at this antique truck. It's a 1942 Dodge filled with Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts and family members, thanking veterans for their service.
Pack 340 there. Pack 22 coming through now, saying thank you to the veterans and military members.
Did you see that flag?
Yeah,
the
I like
handprint
the
with the
handprint.
handprints on
Yes.
it. The American flag with handprints.
Very cool way to do that.
That's another shot of it right there. That's Pack 22. Or is it 2?
I think Pack 22, yeah.
22.
Six floats today, that is awesome.
It's so nice to see that. And a lot walking, too.
Yeah.
Yes. Is this the Lee Middle School band I can see coming down the street? It is.
Of course, bands always popular in parades, and they certainly make it enjoyable for everybody as they play some military music to say thank you, and they work so hard, and a lot of these kids, you know, obviously doing this on top of schoolwork and that sort of thing, and as we know, music sometimes not getting the attention it should in schools anymore, and they're keeping it alive. Very cool.
And a lot of these middle school students learn music for the first time at that level. You know, they haven't been exposed to it. We're going to listen to them for a minute as they come around the corner. This is my country. Thank you very much for that.
I don't know the exact number, but that is one of the largest middle school bands that you'll see around.
It's great to have them.
As we take a look back down Concho now, Howard College, making dreams real for veteran students in the San Angelo community. They say they proudly support veteran students and would like to take this opportunity to thank veterans and their families for their service and commitment to making dreams real for all Americans.
There are a number of veterans who come back from whatever, or retire from military, who go back and start second careers after going to Howard College.
And they have a whole department, I mean, as most schools do, but just dedicated to helping veterans figure out what the next step is going to be for them, whether it is school or whatever it may be, but doing a lot of work for veterans there. The Girl Scouts of Central Texas now coming down. The Girl Scouts of Central Texas Concho Pearls Service unit has been a part of the Veterans Day Parade for 12 years now. Girl Scouts serve girls from K through 12th grade.
And they're handing out lots of little American flags to everybody as they go along the parade route through downtown San Angelo. I see boxes of cookies on that truck, and my question is always, when does that start? I can never remember.
I can't remember either, but I just know that I always get excited when Donna Brosh comes to the station because she always brings a box or so.
They don't last long.
They do not. You'll start seeing them at all the stores and corners of the street.
I'm guessing there's some little brownies on that float. Here's another float full of them. Decorated Girl Scout cookie boxes. Mmm.
Somebody had to eat all of those cookies so they could have empty boxes to decorate. As we take a look back down, Lincoln Middle School cheer coming through now.
And they actually have from some UIL awards this year, too. They received superior and excellent ratings at their latest UIL competition. Congratulations to them. It's good to have them in the parade today.
And right behind them, the Lincoln Middle School band under the direction of Sarah Clark and Jesse Bailey.
Schools have really strong drum corps and
it's
bands.
Amazing. I can't keep rhythm to save my life, so I'm always impressed when I see middle school kids doing it.
Code Blue is the group that's a volunteer organization that plays a very important role in helping with keeping everybody safe around San Angelo. They help the San Angelo Police Department.
And the San Angelo Association of Realtors with their classic sheep.
Sella is her name. And they all thank veterans and active military members for everything that they do. With love from the San Angelo Association of Realtors.
You know,
And
Goodfellow
gratitude.
got it on that, the fiberglass sheep as well.
Do you all have one at
We
Goodfellow?
do have one outside of our gate. When his name is Lieutenant Eel Little.
Lieutenant who?
Eel Little.
Little, very. Is it at the north gate or the south gate?
It's at the south gate, the main gate.
I'll have to see that the next time I drive by. How long has it been there?
I do not remember. It's been there a while, though.
It just becomes part of the scenery as you drive in and out every day.
It was there before me, but he's wearing a flight jacket to tie back because we were originally a pilot training base.
Right, exactly.
San Angelo Christian Academy. SACA students riding on a flatbed in school T-shirts, decorated patriotically, of course.
Happy Veterans Day, they say. I hear lots of sirens, and I see lots of flashing red and blue lights as I look down Concho.
Usually not a good thing, but in case of a Veterans Day parade, it's a good thing.
Is that Sparky the fire dog?
I believe it is.
He's waving to everybody.
Sparky is always a fan favorite. Obviously, the kids love Sparky.
I'd like to have Sparky's costume this
Yes, oh
morning.
my goodness.
Warm, fluffy dog suit.
Taking time out of their busy day to march in the parade.
San Angelo firefighters waving along as they go and shaking hands with people who are lined up to watch the parade, and they're wearing some of that heavy gear that they wear when they actually go in during emergencies.
And as many people probably know, they work crazy hours, sometimes working, 24 hours overnight and that sort of thing. And we certainly thank them for helping keep us safe.
That's the Great Creek Volunteer Fire Department. Of course, they take care of people who have emergencies and fires in the outlying area outside the jurisdiction of San Angelo Fire Department. And volunteer is the key word there. They all have other positions and other jobs, and they are volunteers. A lot of these outlying volunteer fire departments also have those big fire brush trucks because they're always out in the mesquite brush and trying to, out in the middle of nowhere trying to put out fires.
It's always amazing talking to volunteer firefighters just because of those crazy schedules on top of what they do day in and day out in their everyday lives.
Because of all of the rain, October was our second highest rain total on record in San Angelo. We haven't had to worry about that, thank goodness, over the last year or so.
Yes.
And we haven't had to worry too much about bugs because of the cool weather, but Bug Express is there in their 42 Ford Termite Todd there hanging out. It's always...
Is he doing the Macarena?
Yes,
Are you
he
doing
is.
the Macarena?
Somehow
I love the Macarena.
they've made a termite look cute, which is pretty special. I like the Macarena too. It's easy. You just follow along.
I want to thank Bridget Carr and the group for bringing along their floats today.
As we take a look at the Masonic Lodge 570 here in San Angelo. Mike Burnett getting them in today's parade.
Well, that's a comfy way to ride in a float. Look at that. They have nice chairs.
They look like they could sit there all day.
Elizabeth Miguel is our Tom Green County Clerk, and she's riding in a bright red pickup truck today. Lots of red, white, and blue decorations on that, honoring our defenders as their float. The Doe Creek Volunteer Fire Department, another big volunteer fire department that helps people who live kind of southwest of San Angelo, and they have their brand new brush truck that they're very proud of. They cover a 165-mile area, if you can imagine that.
That's amazing.
That's a lot of ground. The Forest Service and the Health Foundation in San Angelo helped pay for that nice brand new brush truck.
It's got a remote control sprinkler there on the front, which is pretty amazing as well, and going to help a lot of people with that.
A lot of nice high clearance, too, 2 or 3 feet, which puts the people who are riding the back up higher.
Coming right behind them, some folks that have a lot of hours and work hard as well, AEP Texas. Proud supporters of its veterans within the workplace and in our communities. They want to show their appreciation, salute, and honor all veterans as they deserve.
Always happy to see those guys coming.
Yeah. And they work quickly to try and get things back on.
It's amazing, whether you live in town or around the area. And they have a large area to cover around West Texas also.
Just behind them, the San Angelo Elks Lodge recognizes the heroism of our freedom defenders with patriotic banners and colors.
We were just talking about that earlier. They've invited all military members and families and veterans to come have lunch right after the parade until 3 o'clock this afternoon, and then they'll be having the Vietnam veteran pinning ceremony at 1 o'clock this afternoon at 2121 South Chadbourne. Thank you.
West Texas Rehabs of San Angelo coming through now.
Also the Hospice of San Angelo, too. They merged just recently. The hospice group is now under West Texas Rehabilitation Center.
They've been voted the best hospice for the last 2 years.
There's a little girl who had a bag of candy who just dropped it all right in the middle of the street. And people are running to pick it up.
As Ambleside School of San Angelo comes through now, the students are saluting all veterans with a flashback to the 40s. The iconic VJ Kiss in Times Square, Marilyn Monroe, the Andrews Sisters, a Tuskegee Airman, and Rosie the Riveter.
And the Statue of Liberty.
Which is always a popular.
Take a look at that float.
A lot of work gone into that one.
A lot of history, too.
And that is a hard pose to hold right there. My goodness.
Listen, can you hear the sisters singing there? Listen.
As we take a look now at the Southside Lions Club, President Monette Molinar. The Southside Lions Club has 10 veterans that have served our country from Army, Air Force, Marines, and Navy.
Monette's been involved with that group for a long time. They do a lot of things around the area, from here all the way down to actually 2 or 3 hours south of San Angelo, southwest of San Angelo. Have all the military flags on their float today, representing all the armed forces.
And just behind them, you might see some people you know. One of those guys really unpopular right now with it being so chilly. Chief Meteorologist Dan Smith, Chris Ramirez from KSAN, Ashley Cunha, Victor Glenn. Hey, and Chief Meteorologist
Who ended up
Josh
driving?
Jones.
Kara is driving.
Kara.
Good. Weekend weather. Kara Thompson, good job.
Oh, and Jonathan Thomas. It's TV's Jonathan Thomas, everybody.
He had a big sports night.
He did.
Right behind Jonathan, we have all the Fort Concho Living History units. Those are the 2 mules, too. They're new, pulling that old-fashioned ambulance wagon named Betty and Barney right behind the KLST truck.
Driven by Teamster Paul Cook, the wagon is escorted by members of the Fort Concho Living History Program.
We have Ron Perry and the Fort Concho Cavalry here this morning, too. Where's Bob? I don't see Bob Bluthart. Where's Bob? There's Bob. Bob's directing the turn. Bob's getting ready for Christmas at Fort Concho coming up in just a month, December 7th through 9th. San Angelo Police Department officer, I think that signals the end of the Veterans Day.
And I can't think of a better way to end it than with Fort Concho, obviously beginning the history of military here in San Angelo.
1867.
What a wonderful parade it was today, a large turnout. and a lot of fun.
We didn't get to hear. I wanted to hear just real quickly where you're from. You grew up in Oregon.
I grew up in Oregon, yes. I was born in Washington State and grew up in Oregon, and I did not do much traveling until I came to Texas for my basic training.
So how did you adjust to West Texas and the difference in landscape?
So I timed my basic training to where I went in January, so I avoided like the whole Texas summer. And then I went to Maryland for my tech school training, and then I came back. And I enjoy like the landscape, but I do sometimes miss my mountains because I was surrounded by them. And the green, but it's been so rainy lately. I haven't missed that much today. So, but the heat was just the biggest shocker because it's so hot for so long. We get hot days in Oregon, but they don't last months.
Right. And they're not 100 for one day after another.
No.
But we don't have that trouble today. It was actually really, really nice, though, even though it's a chilly November morning, and it was a great parade. Thank you so much for helping us this morning. Appreciate it. And we always thank all the personnel from Goodfellow Air Force Base who always make this parade so special.
And we always appreciate the support.
Airman Hines, thank you so much. For Carolyn McEnroe, I'm Cody Adams. That's going to do it for us now. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you all veterans. SEC football is next.
Happy Veterans Day.
Thank you for watching the 2018 Veterans Day Parade, sponsored by Clark Construction Custom Homes. You're watching KLST Local.